Good morning, my friends. My name is Lama Jigme Gyatso, the Rational Contemplative. This is the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditative Musings. A fellow on Facebook wrote and asked me why I no longer practice or teach the Tummo meditations from the 6 yogas of Nirupa. They come under the heading of completion stage practices of Buddhist highest yoga tantra. Yes, indeed, it was part of my training as a non-sectarian Urime contemplative. Why don't I persist in that practice? Because it's entirely contrived. People meditate on the central channel, specifically at the navel or below the navel, in hopes of stilling their mind and coalescing their energies. Now, working with energy is great intermittently as a remedy for a physical or psychic ailment, but not as a lifestyle practice. Bringing your mind to our central channel and working up and down our central channel, or working out and in our central channel. The working out and in our central channel might help us understand interdependence and impermanence, but it won't a Buddha make. Working up and down our central channel may coalesce our central energies, may calm the mind, but it will not help us to deal with the actual causes of turmoil. You see, my friends, as a liberal as opposed to a fundamentalist, as a rational as opposed to a superstitious fellow, I do not believe in belief. So I'm quite comfortable saying Buddha may or may not have existed. If he did exist, he may be exactly like the myths say. He may be nothing like the myths say. The Mahasatipatthana Sutta may have been written by him, or it may simply be attributed to him. I'm comfortable either way. I'm pragmatic. All I care about is what works for me and what works for others. Because quite frankly, my friends, suffering sucks. You see, when you look superficially at the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, which is Pali for the greater discourse upon the 4 bases of mindfulness. When you look at it superficially, it's ungainly. Oh my goodness, it's so tough to read or recite. How are you going to apply it? Those are my thoughts many years ago. And so in my hubris, in my laziness, I thought, well, I'm so smart, I'll outdo Buddha. And what I'm going to do is make something simpler and more effective. Well, I was half right. I made something much simpler, and so have many, many other people. But it was not more effective. My life has known no shortage of physical, circumstantial, or emotional sufferings. And the great thing about adversity is it's like a shakedown cruise for your contemplative techniques. Because if one's contemplative techniques cannot help you when the fit hits the shan, then they're of no use to you and must not be relied upon. I remember going through a veritable perfect storm of misfortune between a very harsh living situation where landladies just turned on me, my mother dying horribly, agonizingly of colon cancer, and me being sexually assaulted on public transport. That was a horrible, horrible summer. But it was very useful because it helped me look at the teachings afresh, which is useful after many decades of practice, study, and public discourse. And I wondered, if Buddha was alive, which would be a trick in and of itself, but if Buddha was alive and he spoke English and he walked out of the woods, would he recognize what we call Buddhism? And he'd say no. He wouldn't, because what we practice today is not the mindfulness, insight, and loving kindness of the Mahasatipatthana Sutta. We practice a contrivance. We practice the contrivance of concentration, trying to manipulate our emotional and our intellectual experiences. That is germane to certain sects of Hinduism and certain sects of Neo-Taoism, but it is not what Buddha taught. No, there's nothing wrong with certain sects of Hinduism, there's nothing wrong with certain sects of Neo-Taoism, but they're not Buddhism. You can't use a you cannot use a recipe for lasagna to make banana bread. They're two different things, but different ingredients. Likewise, Neo-Taoism, Hinduism, and Buddhism have different premises, different means, different goals. They are different. Armed with this realization, I reacquainted myself with the Mahasatipatthana Sutta and allowed it to completely transform my personal practice and the practice of my students. And that is the difference that makes the difference. Friends, you don't need empowerments. You don't need secret techniques. Everything you need to accomplish the Buddha's enlightenment is found in the single, albeit ungainly text, the Mahasatipatthana Sutta. If you don't own a copy, I will give you one. Just write me. I'll send you a PDF. It's no big deal. And that's that. Quick reminder, the Friday series of meditation classes begins this week. Now, it'll be held in Palm Springs, but since most people don't live in Palm Springs, most people can attend over their webcams live, which is totally cool. The fee is $0, thanks to the generosity of the Buddha Joy Meditation School's patrons on Patreon. And if you wish to become a patron on Patreon, you can for as little as $1 a month. And really, who can't afford $1 a month? Come on now. So if you want to come to this week's class, register using the links below. May you and yours be healthy and happy. Bye-bye now.